My name is Rebecca, and this isn't an easy story to tell. The summer I turned 15, my parents left me at an old train station off the highway as a lesson in growing up. They didn't lose me. They didn't forget. They did it on purpose, then drove off, leaving me standing there with 2 bottles of water and a lump of doubt stuck in my throat. The silver SUV slid out of the parking lot like I had never existed. At first, I naively thought they were just circling around to park in the shade. But 5 minutes passed, then 10. I checked my phone. A message from Mom popped up on the screen. "Let's see how long it takes you to find your way home. Just a little test, Rebecca. Kids need things like this to grow up." It felt like a boulder crushed my chest. It wasn't the first time they'd done something cruel like this. 3 years ago, when I was 12, they locked the door and left me standing in the backyard during a thunderstorm because I forgot my muddy shoes by the front steps. When I was 13, Mom made me walk over 5 miles home in pouring rain, no coat, just because I missed the school bus. Back then, they called it building character. This time, I was alone at Shady Creek Station, a desolate place with a few rusted benches and a faded vending machine scorched by the sun. I gripped my phone and called Dad. No answer. I called Mom. Nothing. I tried again, still that cold, lifeless voicemail. "Can't take your call right now." My hands trembled, but inside me was a dangerous stillness, like the surface of a lake right before the storm hits. There weren't many people around. An elderly couple waiting for a late train, a man who looked like a long-haul trucker smoking in the far corner. No one noticed me. A teenage girl, face pale with shock, clutching a lukewarm bottle of water, standing still in the sweltering July heat. I checked my wallet. Just $86 left, money I saved from a few weeks working at the local bakery. Then I remembered someone, the only person who ever said I could call if I needed help, my aunt, Lauren, Mom's sister, who hadn't been in contact with the family for years because she was too soft, according to my dad. I tapped on Aunt Lauren in my contacts. My heart raced as it rang. She picked up on the second ring. "Rebecca?" Her voice sounded a little unsure, then immediately worried. "Where are you? What's going on?" I took a deep breath. I'm at Shady Creek Station. They left me here." My voice didn't sound like mine. I swallowed the lump rising in my throat. She paused. I heard a car engine start on the other end. "Stay right there. I'm coming. No one gets to leave you like that." Tears spilled from my eyes uncontrollably. Not from fear, not from loneliness, but because, for the first time in my life, someone told me I didn't deserve to be treated this way. I sat on the rusted bench, back pressed against the cold concrete pillar in the shade. I didn't know it then, but my life was about to change paths. A path I would carve for myself, step by step, no longer bowing or asking permission. But I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going back. It's been 20 years since that summer afternoon, but I still remember every detail. The sticky sweat on my old shirt, the sound of a soda can rolling underfoot, and the look in Aunt Lauren's eyes when her car pulled up at Shady Creek. She hugged me tight without asking a single question, just said, "Let's get you home." And for the first time, I understood that home doesn't have to be the place you're born. I rebuilt my life from scratch, an old suitcase, a state ID, and a heart full of cracks. Aunt Lauren let me stay in her small apartment in the suburbs of Santa Fe, where she lived alone after her divorce. I went back to school, worked as a waitress, took night classes. Those years weren't easy, but they gave me the strength to stand tall. 10 years later, I launched my own interior design firm, Blue Mesa Studio. Now, I'm the CEO of a business based in Denver, with 3 branches across the Southwest, and a team I consider family. This morning, I was preparing for a big presentation with a luxury hotel in Santa Barbara when my phone rang. A strange number appeared on the screen. I was about to decline it, but something told me I should answer. I pressed accept and brought the phone to my ear. "Rebecca?" That voice froze my blood. "It's me, Monica." I gripped the phone tighter, my heart pounding like it would break free from my chest. Monica. My sister. daughter of the same parents, the one who stood by them, who stayed silent when I was left at that station. How did you get my number? Aunt Lauren gave it to me. Please don't be mad at her. She just wanted to help. I didn't say anything. Monica took a deep breath, then went on, her voice trembling. Rebecca, Mom and Dad are in trouble. Dad lost his job last year. Mom is drowning in debt. The house is being foreclosed. They need help. They need you. I felt something cold shatter inside me. They need me? After all these years of silence, pretending I didn't exist? After everything? Rebecca, I'm not calling to justify, Monica said softly. I know what they did was wrong. So wrong. But they're really desperate now. Please, at least hear them out. I bit my lip, trying to keep my voice steady. What do they want? Money? Not just money, Monica replied. They need your help renegotiating with the bank, the creditors. You have a name now. You have influence. I stepped out onto the balcony, the morning breeze brushing through my hair. The misty hills of Denver stretched out below, peaceful to the point of irony. I had spent years building this life. A life free of control, free of hurt. Rebecca, please, Monica repeated, almost begging. They have no one else. I closed my eyes, and for a moment, I saw myself at 15, standing alone at that station with Mom's cold message on my screen. I still kept that old phone as a reminder that I had once been seen as nothing but a burden. I opened my eyes. Fine, send me the address. But just one meeting. I'm not staying. Monica exhaled in relief. Thank you, Rebecca, I promise. And don't call me Rebecca like you didn't walk away from me, I cut in. See you Saturday, 9 a.m., the cafe by Union Station. I ended the call before she could say another word. That evening, I sat alone on the porch bench, a steaming mug of herbal tea in my hand. I scrolled through old photos, my first design drafts for Blue Mesa, snapshots with my team at our office launch. Everything I had, I built from nothing. And now they were back, not to ask how I was, but to pull me back into the mess they made. But I wasn't that 15-year-old girl anymore. This time, I would be the one setting the terms, and they would have to face the truth. Not just the truth about the debt, but the truth about who they were and who I had become. I arrived at the cafe by Union Station at 8:45 a.m., 15 minutes early. The Denver sky wore a muted gray, as if the weather, too, sensed the heaviness ahead. I chose a corner table, my back to the street, so I could observe without being easily seen. Monica arrived on time, her face still sharp and familiar, but with dark circles under her eyes that no makeup could hide. She offered a faint smile when she saw me. I just nodded. Thank you for coming, she said quietly. I crossed my arms and leaned back in my chair. Let's get to the point. I don't have much time. Monica swallowed hard. Mom's on antidepressants. Dad, well, you know he's never been good with money. They're losing everything. The house is under foreclosure, the credit card debt is massive, and they believe that if you speak on their behalf, the creditors might reconsider. I gave a dry smirk. Because I have a name. Because the one they abandoned is now worth something. Monica lowered her head, silent. I went on, my voice no longer soft. Do you have any idea how I've lived these past years? I once slept in a moldy room with a leaking ceiling, went to school while juggling 3 part-time jobs. All because the people you call Mom and Dad thought it was real-world education. And now they want something from me? No. They lost that right a long time ago. Monica looked like she was about to say something, but I held up my hand. If they try to contact me again, I'll have my lawyer handle it. This is the only meeting I'm agreeing to. I left money for the coffee on the table and walked out. I thought that would be the end of it. But I had underestimated how persistent they could be. 3 days later, head of Blue Mesa's communications team knocked on my office door with a tense expression. "Rebecca, I think you need to see this," she said, placing an iPad on my desk. On the screen was a Facebook post, bold headline blaring, "Successful daughter abandons elderly parents without a second thought." I felt my whole body freeze. The post included an old, candid photo of me taken at a press conference, along with a long-winded story from a heartbroken mother betrayed by her own child. My name wasn't mentioned directly, but everyone knew it was me. Below the post were thousands of furious comments. "I can't believe someone could be so heartless. Raised her, and this is what they get. So sad. Got rich and forgot where she came from." I sat there, silent. Ava looked at me, worried. "We're trying to manage comments on the company page, but some clients have already canceled contracts. A few partners are asking for clarification." I didn't respond right away. My heart pounded, not from fear, but from anger. They didn't just want help, they wanted control. And when that didn't work, they turned into victims. That night, I received an email from an old contact in the media world. "Rebecca, are you okay? The story about you is spreading fast. Maybe it's time to speak up." I stared at my computer screen for a long time. I knew I couldn't stay silent. Not this time. Not when my reputation, my company, and the truth itself were being twisted so blatantly. I opened a blank document and began to write. The words poured out like a dam breaking. Not with rage, not with bitterness, just the truth. I wrote about the past, Shady Creek Station, the storms I was locked out in, the days I survived thanks to one kind aunt. I wasn't writing to justify. I was writing to remind people that silence isn't always the right choice. When I hit post, I knew I was stepping into a new kind of fight, but this time, I wasn't afraid. Because I wasn't that abandoned girl at the old train station anymore. My post on social media was under 1,000 words. No embellishments, no whining, just the truth. Raw, cold, undeniable. I recounted the summer afternoon I was left at Shady Creek Station with a nearly dead phone and the message from Mom. "Let's see how you manage." I told of being locked out during storms, the 10-mile walk in the rain because I missed the bus. I didn't use their real names, but everyone knew who I was talking about. I wasn't asking for sympathy. I just refused to stay quiet while the people who made me claw my way out of the dark pretended to be victims under the spotlight. Within 2 hours of posting, my phone started buzzing nonstop. Messages, calls, emails from old friends, colleagues, even strangers. Most were words of support, people sharing their own stories, kids once seen as burdens who had to save themselves while others admired their families from the outside. The media picked up on it. Some journalists requested interviews, while a few major accounts reshared my post with captions like, "Not everyone gets to choose their childhood. But everyone deserves to tell the truth." Days later, public opinion had shifted. The same people who criticized me were now turning on my parents, calling them anything from neglectful to things I won't repeat. They deleted the original post, shut down their accounts, vanished from social media. But I knew it wasn't over. A week later, during a meeting with Blue Mesa's legal team, my assistant Ella walked in with a thick envelope, delivered via express mail. "From Mitchell and Crane Law Offices," she said, her voice low. I opened the letter, scanned it, and slowly folded it back up. A strange mix of amusement and bitterness settled in my chest. "They're suing me," I said simply, placing the envelope on the table. "Under Arizona's filial responsibility law, they want me to financially support them for the rest of their lives." The room was quiet. One of my attorneys, Thomas, raised an eyebrow. "That statute doesn't apply in Colorado, but if they filed in their home state, it could be a complicated case." I nodded. "We're not backing down. We face it." That afternoon, I called Aunt Lauren. She went silent when I told her. "You don't owe them anything, Rebecca," she said. "They chose to walk away. Now they have to live with that choice." I sat in my office, looking out at the Denver skyline coming to life. Every light told a story, a life, and mine had once been a faint flicker in the dark, lit by nothing but my own hands. no one had reached down to pull me up. No one but me. This lawsuit wasn't just a money grab. It was retaliation. Their way of saying I'd never escape, that the past would always find a way back. But I was ready. I was no longer the girl trembling at Shady Creek, unsure which way to go. I was the woman who'd built everything with her own hands, and I wasn't going to let them tear it down. I hired the best legal team I could find, not just to protect myself, but to put a clear, permanent end to a toxic chain that had lasted more than 2 decades. 2 days later, I received a text from an unlisted number. I didn't need to open it to know who sent it. "Rebecca, don't take this too far. They're still your parents. Remember everything we've done for you." I didn't respond. I just took a screenshot, forwarded it to my lawyer, and added a note. Proof they're still trying emotional manipulation. Proceed. That night, I went back to my apartment and stood on the balcony, watching the city lights flicker. Inside, my laptop was still open, legal documents spread across the table. I picked up the phone and called Ava. "Tomorrow, we release a press statement. Make it clear. No sugarcoating. People deserve to know the truth. And I'm not ashamed of it." Ava paused for a second, then replied firmly, "I'll handle it. You're not alone." I smiled softly. That's right. This time I wasn't fighting alone. And I would see it through to the end. 1 week after I officially responded to the lawsuit and brought my story into the light, I thought the storm had begun to settle. I was wrong. The most dangerous people are the ones with nothing to lose, especially when they share your last name. That night, just as I finished washing dishes and was about to review plans for the new hotel project in Sedona, Ava called. Her voice was urgent, missing its usual composure. "Rebecca, you need to join the comms channel. Something big just happened." I opened my laptop and logged into the internal system. Right on the homepage were a flood of emergency emails, red subject lines, flashing warning icons. Alert, financial fraud allegations involving Blue Mesa CEO. Leak report, Rebecca Fisher suspected of embezzling investment funds. It felt like someone had kicked me hard in the stomach, not out of fear, but pure rage. I clicked on the attachment, a series of forged emails sent from strange addresses, accusing me of using company funds to buy a private home, make personal purchases, and transfer money to relatives. The accusations were carefully crafted, complete with spreadsheets, doctored bank statements, and even an anonymous confession from a so-called former insider. Not long after, messages from investors started pouring in. Some requested clear explanations. A few, while polite, showed visible concern. The rest, silence. The most dangerous kind in business. I sat frozen in front of the screen. Ava was on the other side, eyes locked on mine. "We're tracking the origin of the email accounts, but it looks like a coordinated attack." 3 hours later, our cybersecurity team uncovered the first piece of the puzzle. All the fake emails and accounts traced back to the same IP address, located in Tucson, Arizona. More specifically, a house on Crystal Creek Road. A house I knew down to every brick and white picket fence. It was my parents' old home. My hands went cold as the tech team sent over the access logs. The computer name? Celeste PC. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry at the audacity. I logged into my personal account and wrote a new post. I used to think the worst thing they ever did was leave me at an old train station when I was 15. But I was wrong. This past week, I've been accused of embezzlement, investor fraud, and using company funds for personal gain. All the evidence is fake. Thanks to our IT team, I now know exactly who was behind it. My own parents. This is no longer a family matter. This is a calculated campaign to destroy the reputation and career I've spent 20 years building. But I'm not afraid. I survived being disregarded and abandoned. I will survive this too. The truth may not always be easy to hear, but it is always more powerful than any lie. I hit post. Within an hour, the post had over 200,000 views. In 3 hours, it had spread across major forums, from women entrepreneur groups to respected news platforms. People weren't just condemning my parents' actions, they were starting to question the toxicity of certain family dynamics. At the same time, I received an internal call from Blue Mesa's legal representation. Rebecca, we have enough grounds to file a countersuit for defamation and business interference. Do you want to move forward? I looked out the window, the city lights twinkling beyond the glass. I thought of the sleepless nights, of my first office paid with savings, of the first client who believed in my vision when all I had was a sketch and a promise. I turned back, my voice firm. Yes, let's begin. The next morning, I got one final message from an unknown number. If you do this, what will be left of us? I typed back, steady and clear. Nothing. And that's the choice you made. I hit send. And this time, I knew. I had cut the final tie binding me to the past. I wasn't afraid anymore. I had become someone they never expected. And I wouldn't let anyone, not even the ones who gave me life, destroy that. 2 months after the countersuit and the release of undeniable evidence, everything went quiet. No more anonymous emails, no more slanderous posts spreading online, no one messaging me to remember the blood bond. Finally, silence returned. Not the silence of fear, but the peace after a storm. One Wednesday morning, as I was reviewing a restaurant layout for a hotel in San Diego, Ella stepped into my office, holding a file. Rebecca, you should see this. I opened it. Bank documents, asset liquidation notices, photos of my parents' old home on a real estate listing. The sign in front of the gate read, urgent sale, bankruptcy liquidation. The house where they had once thrown parties, refused to let me step foot in after I left. It now stood empty in a quiet neighborhood. Dry grass in the yard and shuttered windows staring blankly. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel satisfaction. What I felt was a slow, deep relief. Like finally taking off a pair of shoes that had been hurting you for years, but you'd kept wearing anyway. They had lost everything, not because of me, but because of the choices they once believed were right. The silence back then, the coldness, and the resentment they turned toward the growth of the child they chose to discard. That afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. I wasn't planning to answer, but my hand lifted on its own. A hoarse, tired voice spoke on the other end. Rebecca? It's me, Monica. I closed my eyes for a moment, then opened them. What do you want? Can you just listen for a minute? I didn't respond. Monica continued, her voice breaking with each word. I know it's too late. You were right. They ruined everything themselves. Mom's crashing with an old friend now, and Dad, he doesn't talk to anyone anymore. Whenever someone brings up your name, they just look down. No one believes them anymore. I stayed silent. I'm not calling to ask for anything, Monica added. I want to say, I'm sorry. For standing by when you needed me. For staying quiet when I should have spoken up. My voice was calm. An apology doesn't change the past. I know, Monica whispered. You have every right not to forgive. I just didn't want you to think, no one regrets what happened. I exhaled. No anger, no emotion. You didn't lose me, Monica, I said evenly. Mom and Dad did. And they don't get another chance. I hung up before she could say more. That evening, I texted Aunt Lauren. Are you free this weekend? I'd love to take you to dinner. You pick the place. She replied almost instantly. Of course. There's a new Italian spot in Boulder. I hear the fresh pasta is amazing. I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in days. Aunt Lauren. The one who opened her arms when the world turned its back. No demands, no strings. Just presence, warmth. The very thing I had yearned for my entire childhood. Before bed, I scrolled through my contacts, down to the 2 names that still sat there like unhealed scars, Celeste Holloway and Donald Holloway. I didn't hesitate anymore. I blocked both, Then I closed the app. No anger, no regret. It was just time. I used to think I needed a confrontation, an apology, or acknowledgement. But the truth is, I didn't need any of that. I just needed freedom. Freedom from expectations, from the weight of trying to prove my worth to people who never saw it. I stepped out onto the balcony, a mug of hot tea in hand, the night breeze drifting through my hair. The Denver skyline sparkled below, as calm as my heart in that moment. I had once been the girl left on the side of the road, with a few dollars and a shredded sense of dignity. Now, I was the woman who rewrote her own story. Not for revenge, but because I deserved a different ending, one of freedom. Family isn't always the people who share your blood. It's the ones who stay when everyone else walks away. The ones who listen, believe, and never make you prove you're worthy of love. Instead, I don't carry resentment anymore, but I don't forget either. And that's how I choose to let go. From my own story, I've learned something important. Blood doesn't always mean love. No one has the right to make you feel less just because of the family you were born into. Choosing to walk away from toxic relationships isn't selfish, it's brave. I don't need revenge or late apologies. I just need peace. And if you're struggling with pain caused by the people closest to you, remember this. You have every right to choose where you belong. What do you think about Rebecca's journey? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to follow the channel for more real, heartfelt stories about life, family, and the power of choice.